Barbados is a small island nation of under 300,000 persons and 166 square miles. Its dependence on crude oil imports to drive a public transportation system that accounts for one-third of the use of this fuel contributes through gas emissions to an unhealthy environment for its citizens. This dependence on crude oil also has a negative impact on the economy and its citizens who in a good year pay $500 million in foreign exchange, which could be diverted to other socially beneficial areas. The electric vehicle project led by the Barbados Renewable Energy Association, in association with the University of California at Berkeley and the Government of Barbados, seeks to conduct a technical study which would lead to a more detailed government policy on reforming the public transportation system, using the energy of the sun to fuel a more efficient service for citizens. To this end, a team of 5 comprising 4 members of the Barbados Renewable Energy Board and colleague Kevin Devonish accepted the opportunity to collaborate on the PM4R, or Project Management for Results, certification course for Caribbean civil society organizations. This is with a view to strengthening project management capacity to execute the electric vehicle and other projects with an efficient plan. The 2-month course took the Green Team, as you will know, through a series of project management matrices. But first, let's introduce the Green Team from the Barbados Renewable Energy Association.
Action.
The Project Management for Results course has many benefits to a growing organization. Most importantly, the in-depth use of project management concepts and how they work with your project.
1.
The Electric Vehicle Pilot Project is a demonstration program to supply and monitor electric buses to determine the potential technical and economic impact of an electric conversion of the public service vehicle fleet. The project is a joint initiative between the Government of Barbados through the Division of Energy and the Ministry of Transport and Works in partnership with the Barbados Renewable Energy Association and the Renewable and Appropriate Energy Laboratory out of the University of California, Berkeley. This collaboration between the government, civil society, and academia is mostly a review-only type of intervention that results in a set of proposals and recommendations, though it also includes the physical intervention of adding electric buses to the public service vehicle fleet. The project will not result in the physical transformation of the entire fleet. Before moving forward, it is important to understand the relevance of the proposed project to the country's overall sustainable development targets and how the project is aligned to the country's development goals, as a means of understanding why the electric vehicle project is a suitable development project for funding under the Inter-American Development Bank. The Government of Barbados has set a target of 65% renewable energy Barbados by 2030 and has signed on to the Paris Accord to cut the country's greenhouse gas emissions by 40%. The provision of an efficient transportation service and supporting infrastructure is fundamental to achieving the above sustainable development goals for Barbados. Electric vehicles are a real option to meet the future transportation demands while supporting renewable energy technology penetration onto the grid.
The procurement matrix is useful for establishing contracting methods from the start of the project. This is a very important tool for development projects where donor agencies may have specific procurement guidelines that must be adhered to. Such as with our project, where we anticipate that the majority of funding will come from agencies such as the IADB, CDB, and the EU delegation, to mention a few. The tool identified which components of the project would need to undergo a private or public bidding process, or whether direct project administration would suffice.
3, 2, 1, action.
The project charter was a critical startup tool because it provided the stakeholders with an overall understanding of the project's rationale and strategy and outlined the key objectives. The project objectives are to supply 4 electric buses and charging infrastructure to the public service vehicle fleet, to monitor public service electric vehicles and non-electric vehicles for comparative analysis on selected highly trafficked routes for a period of 1 year, to use the collected data to determine the economic benefits of an electric conversion of the public service vehicle fleet, the environmental benefits of electric vehicles in the public service vehicle fleet, optimal charge infrastructure and strategy, incentive programs and policy recommendations that can support the market adoption of electric vehicles in the public transportation sector. A key benefit during the charter development was eliminating objectives that were outside of the project scope. Another key component was the creation of the governance structure and establishment of the monitoring and control mechanisms. This officially formalized and communicated to the project stakeholders how arising issues will be dealt with and by whom.
Similar to scheduling, there are various management tools to help with budgeting. After breaking down each component, the bottom-up approach for budgeting could be more accurate if each item is correctly estimated. However, our project is still at a very early stage, so this approach could grossly over or underestimate the total costs. Instead of focusing on the actual costs, since many are unknowns, we focus on understanding the tools and applying them by using the S-curve tool. We were able to identify that we needed to include the managerial and administrative costs throughout the project. The curve is useful to help quickly identify areas in the budget that may need to be adjusted.
3, 2, 1.
The work breakdown structure signaled the start of the project planning process. This critical project management tool helps with highlighting tasks that can be easily overlooked until they stop another aspect from moving forward. For example, while the project is very focused on electric vehicles, non-electric vehicles also need to be monitored. During the implementation of monitoring devices, it is important that both types of vehicles are monitored for comparison. The identification of this thought process and the creation of the WBS allowed for the project team to appropriately account for relevant activities necessary for the completion of specific project tasks. It was worthwhile to spend time brainstorming the potential risks that could impact the project. The risk matrix ranking and prioritizing of risk and the potential procedures to mitigate, avoid, or accept the risk led to many sobering discussions among the GREA team. We found that risk, even some perceived as minor, needed to be identified and addressed. There were times when addressing the risk may be too costly for the project, and we needed to clearly navigate how to approach these. In these cases, the ranking aspect of the risk matrix was extremely helpful. Using both impact and probability assessment tools, it helped us to determine the severity of the threat and thus guide our solutions or corrective actions. An example of this is shown in the risk matrix, where delays associated with procurement of the electric vehicle buses is a greater risk to the success of the GREA team than, say, anticipated risks associated with bid tampering. Small island states like Barbados stand to benefit massively from the introduction of this technology. While it will call for some infrastructural investment with regards to charging infrastructure and behavioural changes, mostly due to persons' perceptions of EVs, the pros far outweigh any potential barriers to entry. This project seeks to provide a clear rationale for electrifying the public transportation sector, where persons on a daily basis can experience the benefits of EVs. Therefore, we are proud to say that our team has worked, learned, and grown together out of the PM4R experience. Our diverse background, with some having little experience in project management, the tools provided, and the time spent on the course greatly improved our communication and the to really link it back together.
We need filler. That's why they.
Well,
I rather us. I don't even know. I rather us.
The thing is that
do really well on each part and then summarize it instead
thing is though, is